Welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. Kent Adams here. I hope you're having a good day. It's a treat for me because one of my favorite organizations in town is the Union Gospel Mission. I've been very fortunate because of this program to have a number of their key people on. Department heads, Phil Altmaier himself has been on a few times. In fact, he was here a few weeks ago. I've had a chance to take a tour. Perhaps most importantly, though, I've had a chance to meet a couple people that have been helped or their lives changed because of Union Gospel Mission. And I don't think my guest this morning will disagree that that's where the story really is.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
even with all the hard work and so forth, it's a life changer over there, and I'm happy to have them on. I'm going to have this morning Karen Herford. Did I
Yes.
say that right?
Yes, sir, you
And
Yes,
she's going to join me next on the Pulse of Spokane.
What a great time of year. It's the season of savings at Wendell Ford with our year-end sales event. The 2021s like this flashy new Explorer are here, and there's more on the way. The 2020s need to go. Hear about this month's great offers from our amazing team.
Hi, I'm Patrick. Come see me this month for huge factory incentives, including 0% for 60 months on Escape, Expedition, Explorer, and more. Also, clearance savings on hundreds of new and used vehicles. Hope to see you soon.
Happy holidays. Come see us at Wendell at the Y or Wendell.com.
Karen Herford, how are you today?
You know what? I'm really good. Besides being cold, it's like
Well,
you know when
yes.
it gets in your bones.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
you
I
can't
know
shake it,
that.
and it's
I know
like
that.
done.
Yeah.
I'm so cold right now. But
Yeah, yeah.
I'm good.
I walked into Safeway this morning to pick up something and back to the car, and I'm going, oh my gosh, my car was nice and warm.
Right.
You
right.
know?
You got the
So-
remote start. I got that.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Do you have that?
I do.
Oh, that's
I
not.
had to.
That's not fair. I even lost my fob thing, so I have to use a key now.
Oh, no,
So
no,
I can't
no.
even unlock it. The trials and tribulations that we have in life, right?
Well, you know, this Texan was freezing when I first moved here. So,
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I had
yes.
to.
You kind of coordinate an important part of what goes on at Union Gospel Mission, the women's crisis shelter and the women's center, right?
Yes,
I
it's
probably messed up what the titles
okay.
are. Yeah.
That's okay.
But that's your focus, isn't it?
It is, it
Yeah.
is.
In
The
fact,
women-
you're not very far from where we are
No.
here at the old Comcast
Not
studio.
at all. Not
right.
at all. It's a 3-minute drive.
Right, a 3-minute drive.
3-minute drive.
You told me before we went on the air you almost wanted to walk here, but then all you have to look at the ice out there and know better, right?
Done.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to get one of those calls. Well, I'm sorry, but she fell.
She fell.
Yeah,
Can't do
yeah.
it.
Tell me what's going on and what the differences are in a men's shelter and now working with women, other
Sure.
than the obvious. But I
Right,
mean,
right.
yeah.
Sure.
Well,
So-
how do
so
you
I met-
approach things differently?
Absolutely. Well, there's a couple of key differences. One being there's kids at our shelter. So at the Women's and Children's Crisis Shelter, we allow the moms to have kids.
Okay.
So there's single moms with kids and singles too that don't have kids.
Okay.
That's one of the major ones.
Yeah, because the kids usually end up with the moms.
Right.
That is just a fact of life.
Exactly.
Right.
And so the men don't have that. Another one is at the men's shelter, they have chapel that is open to the public as well as meals that are open to the public.
Okay.
So we don't have that as an option.
And
to-
you protect the women a little bit more in not having just anyone stop by and so forth.
That's right. I mean,
I'm
people-
guessing, right?
Yeah, well, they're fleeing domestic violence
Yes.
and all other sorts of things where, yes, we're definitely protecting.
Yeah.
We can't confirm or deny who's there, you know, so we don't have people just going
Right.
in and out like that from the public.
Right, right.
Yeah.
No. First and foremost is the safety of the women and the kids
The
that are
safety
there.
of the house. That's what
Absolutely.
and that's how we actually make them feel safe is by telling them that we're going to keep them safe and you
Right.
don't confirm or deny.
So
it.
where do your women and children come from? What kind of background are they having? What are some of the issues?
Sure. Well, the Women's and Children's Crisis Shelter is rescue. So
Okay.
rescue is we're
Okay.
just coming right off the street.
Really?
We're not, we have a smaller program that kind of feeds into Anna Ogden Hall called
Okay.
First Step. So they do come there first
Okay.
before they're able to go to Anna Ogden Hall. But the majority of the people there, the women and children there, are just out of crisis. So it really could be drugs and alcohol. It could be their house burned down.
Yes.
Mental health. There are so many different challenges that land people into the crisis shelter.
Right.
And that's exactly what it is. I mean, there's some people that come through with master's degrees
Yeah.
that it's just they're in a crisis. And some of them are full on, alcoholics or drug addicts that are coming for a safe place, domestic
Right.
violence, for a safe place. There's lots of people that we get from domestic violence situations as well.
Right.
And so, we try to provide that safe, clean, sober environment where we're able to speak Christ into their life. Since it's gospel, that's, we focus on that.
Right. Right.
And so to create healing, if we're just one brick, in their foundation, they may not get sober that time.
Right.
They may come back next year. We have a lot of recidivism through the
Okay.
shelter. And so they may not come back. They may not get delivered that time, but they may move on and go into a program in the future.
Right.
And so I always just say,
But they know
we're
of a
just
place
one
they
brick.
can go ask again to get additional help and get referred
That's
or whatever,
right.
right?
That's right.
Because
Lots of
sometimes it does
resources.
take
A few times.
a few times,
few
right?
times,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Tell me what effect COVID has had on, other than the health risks and all of that, and I get
Sure.
that.
Sure.
But in terms of the population, has it caused more women and children to be in crisis? What's going on?
There's a big difference, and Kimmi might want to talk to that,
Okay.
speak to that a little bit later, because she's actually right on the front line, where I'm
Okay.
a little bit further back in the executive offices, but Kimmi's there from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day.
Oh, wow.
Monday
Yeah.
through Friday, and so she sees a little bit different vibe than I see, but I do know, I would speak from a volunteer perspective and say that for our volunteers, the up and down and coming back in, and you can come back in, and now we have to go back into isolation.
Yes.
Has been detrimental on our volunteer
Yeah,
program.
psychologically, it's not fun for when things are going okay with your life.
Exactly.
Okay?
Oh, exactly. Right.
Much less, and I'll be honest with you, I have a couple of people I've talked to who would be leadership in Spokane and everything
Mm-hmm.
else, who have confided in me that this is getting to me, this
Right.
whole thing. And,
Exactly.
And these are people who you and I come
We're
in
strong.
contact with out in the community that everyone would point to. They've got their life together,
That's right. You wouldn't think it.
And
COVID
And you
fatigue.
add COVID to a situation to people who are on the edge.
On the edge,
Yeah,
right? A lot of
yeah.
us are. And then you have to think that it's already a little bit difficult to do life in community,
Yes, yes.
right? And so now we have masks and social distancing, and then, maybe there's an exposure, so we then have to isolate. So then you're isolating inside of your room, inside of a shelter, a crisis
Yeah,
shelter. And
yeah.
so
And you start to feel
it
hemmed
creates-
in, don't you?
oh,
I mean, there's just no
absolutely.
way around it.
absolutely, yeah.
I got to ask you, how did you get into this business?
Oh, goodness.
What led you into? Because there's got to be so much dedication to what you're doing.
There is.
Yeah.
So when I originally sought out Union Gospel Mission, it was to volunteer.
Okay.
And so I'm executive director at a nonprofit.
Okay.
And then I have my own business. So I'm an event planner, obviously pre-COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And so I was seeking out volunteer opportunities. And then all of a sudden it kind of just twisted a little bit. And God just kept pulling at my heart.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. I honestly, had been here 12 years at that time, and I just hadn't really sought it out. I didn't know all of the things that we
Right.
do.
Yeah.
All of the people that we serve blew me away. I
Yeah.
went to the volunteer orientation, and I was just like, oh my gosh,
Did you sit there with your mouth open?
I
and going,
did. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
And so I just, I honestly fell in love with the ministry right
Yes,
away.
yes.
And I started part-time because I had a job
Right.
and all the things that I do, and I have a family and those things.
Yeah.
And so I started pretty small, and then my director was like, there's a full-time position.
A little more.
Yep, and I
Yeah.
was a house manager at the time at the desk and dealt with the guests all the time and had a chance to minister to the ladies and kiddos, and
Yeah.
I just fell in love with it. And I had to take a leave of absence for about 8 months, I guess. My mom had to, she went into dialysis, so I had to go take care of her and kind of
yes.
transition. And then I ended up right back in my same position, which was kind of,
Yeah.
I was blessed to be able to do that.
I get the feeling that the ministry is calling you and that you're a giving person. I just see that loud and clear. You're in the right spot, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Isn't that nice?
It just feels really good. And God, if we continue to say, where do you want me? Because don't think that I didn't consider other options or
Right,
other things.
right.
It's a nonprofit,
Yeah.
And so, and I keep talking to God and walking through it, and I'm not going anywhere. It's
I
just
love
like,
it.
I'm going to come back.
I
I got a
love
couple
it.
job offers before I came back, and I was just like,
No.
I'm going back to the mission.
Yeah.
I missed it so much.
The mission
it's
can
good to be
call
back.
us in a lot of ways, and it's good to see. I just see the smile on your face, and it radiates out that
Thank
this
you.
is something that is important.
It
And
is,
I have the
very.
feeling, because I've met several staff members, that you're not the only one there.
I'm not the only
that
one
comes
there.
from that point of view.
It changes our lives
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
It's not just the guests and the kids, and we change
Well,
dramatically.
And you've heard people
ministry.
say, and you've probably said it, you feel like you're cheating in some ways.
Yes.
That you get
It's like
more
an-
out of it than you're giving.
Right.
You know?
Or am I getting paid for this?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But
Actually
probably
love it.
not big
A
money
blessing.
either, though,
No,
right?
It's a nonprofit, so
Yeah, no, I know. I've been in nonprofits
competitive
before.
lately, though.
Huh?
Really competitive lately, they are.
Yes, it's getting
really
better.
are.
It's
Much
getting,
better, yeah.
much better. Karen, thank you. We're going to bring on Kimmi
Yes.
to talk about some of the other things.
Absolutely.
And so we've got two wonderful ladies here today.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas to you and
Merry
to what
Christmas
you're
to
doing.
you as well.
And thank you for being here today. We're going to take a
Absolutely.
quick break. We'll be back with Kimmi right after this.
Awesome. Pray for us.
We believe every person is created in the image of God with immeasurable beauty and worth, that people should not be defined by their present condition or past mistakes. We are all broken. We need each other. Healing for our brokenness begins with connection, with understanding how much we are loved by a good God. And with healing comes change, the potential for joy and meaning. No one was created for mere survival on the streets, for an existence blurred by mind-numbing substances. Each person is created with a purpose, a unique gift no one else can offer the world. Our job is to help them rediscover it. Real people, real change. Union Gospel Mission.
Buying a car at Wendell Nissan really is a piece of cake. Use our online tool and do everything before you arrive, even the financing. Go to wendellnissan.com and be in your new car in no time. It's a piece of cake.
When we opened the doors the first day, we started with a counter full of maybe a dozen selections of a dozen cupcakes. We sold out, and it just went crazy from there. I'm Sally. I run Sweet Frosting's Blissful Bake Shop downtown Spokane. It's almost 40 years of baking for me. We now do between 1,000 and 2,000 cupcakes a day. The variety of cupcakes is kind of like the variety of services that STCU provides for us. Since we opened this site in 2014, they've been our banker. We are producing for 4 stores right here, so we have 35 to 40 employees at any one time. There's an STCU close to virtually every one of my stores. And every time I get a new employee, that's the first place we send them. STCU is such a good fit. It's just so convenient for me to have them as neighbors. They are always so pleasant and always so helpful. And we have a lot of little needs. They've always been behind me 100%. So it's a good thing to have that partnership.
Here at River Ridge Hardware, we carry a great selection of Krylon brand spray paints, Color Master, general purpose, the Rust Protector for taking care of metal, Fusion for taking care of plastics, and the Super Max that can take care of it all.
Weather in the inland Northwest can wear you down. And if your gutters are in poor condition or you do not have gutters, you could suffer damage that could cost a fortune to fix. Rainman Seamless Rain Gutters has almost 30 years of professional experience in serving the inland Northwest region and strives to ensure customer service that is second to none, from the time you call to the end of the project.
Well, welcome back. We've changed ladies at the end of the table. Kimmi Lane.
Yes, sir.
How are you today?
I am good.
Yes.
I'm good. It's starting to get warmer in here, so I'm better.
Oh, all right. Yes. Is it still cold outside?
Yes.
Yes.
Very,
yes. Okay.
Very much so.
All right. Kimmi, what is your job at Union Gospel Mission?
I oversee the house manager, the guest rescue during the day.
Okay.
From 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. is my shift. And I bring guests in. That's what I do.
All right. You have a little bit of history with the Union Gospel Mission, don't you?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I have a little bit of a lengthy one.
Tell me the story.
Okay. I'll give you the Cliff Notes first.
Okay, yes.
Okay. So, which I proudly share, is that I was an addict for a long time. And I know it sounds strange to say, but my first day of recovery was at the crisis shelter when they were on spray.
Okay.
And that's the first day that I never used again. I've been sober 11 years, over
Wow.
11 years, yeah, by God's grace. And
that's not easy, is it? I mean,
I was
I
an
don't.
addict in
I've
this
never
town.
experienced it, but I've had enough people tell me that is not easy to get over.
yeah, I am part of this small group that
Yeah.
makes it through, especially being in this town because I've lived here all my life.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, so I went to the shelter. I was too prideful and all that, but I needed to change my circumstances. So I went there and I had a volunteer who introduced me to Christ, which I knew God existed, but I didn't have a relationship going on.
Right.
And he introduced me to Jesus and how Jesus cared for me. And then I just never had the desire to use after that. And it took some reflecting to realize what a miracle it was,
Yes.
and so from there, I went on to other people speaking in my life who had recovery and were actually working for the ministry. Said, "Kimmi, you need to check out this program. This is what you need to do." And so, long story short, I did. And I thought I'll give it a try. I'm not really sure what I want to do or if this place I want to be. And I did. And I finished the program, and it taught me so much. It changed my life. Now I'm thankful for my trials, for my addiction, for losing custody of my kids at the time, which I gained back
Good.
3 years later.
Good.
Yeah, and so God
That had to be a proud moment for you.
It was, you
Yeah.
know, but I was at a point when in the beginning they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get your kids any day." I'm like, I didn't feel worthy yet, you know. I was still working
yeah.
through that, but I learned that I learned where my salvation was. I learned who my identity was. I also learned about boundaries and all these other things that I don't know if a normal person knows about. When it's okay to say yes and when to say no and not to feel guilty and realize that you don't have to play the part of Jesus and be the Savior all the time.
Yeah.
I learned those things. And it's so life-changing. And the
Yes.
more I talk to people, the more I know it's life-changing.
Wow.
And so, see, from there, I've been part of the ministry. I worked at Ann Ogden Hall as an overnight RA, and then I was a kitchen supervisor for about 4 years. I came to the crisis shelter. I've been there almost 5 years now, I think, 5 or 6. You lose track of time.
Yes.
You know, especially when you've been there since 2009 in recovery and on.
Right.
But I've worked with them since 2012.
Okay.
Okay, so, but that's why I'm where I'm at, because all the time I see broken people, and and I'd been through a lot in like over 20 years of addiction. So even if I don't exactly been through that situation, I know how the heart hurts, and I know how it feels to be with no hope. I know how it feels to think that this is your lot in life and this is all that it's going to be. And
I can't imagine.
I don't settle for that. I don't settle for that. I'm all the time, I get to encourage them. I get to say, I see you. Not by what you did, but I see you.
Yes.
And encouraging them just in the little things, like they're keeping their room picked up, or they're, helping out in a chore, or volunteering an extra 30 minutes, and getting to encourage them. It's life-changing.
Yeah.
Life-changing.
So you help, okay, Ann Ogden Hall, is that, am I
That's the
saying it
Life
right?
Recovery, Anna
Okay.
Ogden Hall,
Okay.
We call it AOH, kind of,
Okay.
it's easier to say than Anna Ogden Hall.
Of course.
But it's a Life
There's always
Recovery
the
program.
internal lingo. I know, yeah.
We got quite the internal lingo. We have
Yeah.
a lot of acronyms or
Yeah. Yeah, you're seeing lives change though, aren't you?
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time
Yeah.
I'm seeing life change. And
What does it
it's-
feel like after you've worked for 3/4 or half a day or a full day, when you walk out to head home? What hits you from your job that day?
I don't feel like my time was wasted.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we were talking about volunteers and COVID's kind of taken a hit. So
Yeah,
I've learned to appreciate how much this community embraced us and has been volunteering with us
Yeah.
and made it so I could have more like one-on-one time. But, so a lot of times right now, I'm doing the stuff of just checking in and answering the phone, which I love doing.
right,
Don't get me
right,
wrong.
right.
But I never feel like my day's wasted. I
Good.
never feel like my day's wasted. And, there's times when my heart just hurts and I'm praying that this family or this young lady gets it, or even this older lady.
Yeah.
I see people that are my mom's age and it just like, and so they definitely fill my prayer life, but I don't feel like my day's wasted, which is a really good feeling.
It is a good feeling,
Yeah.
isn't it? It really is a good feeling. I've told the story, and the guys will probably roll their eyes when they hear this again, but when I, quote, retired a few years ago, about 7 or 8 years ago now, my wife asked me a question: have you really enjoyed what you've done in life? And I've been able to say yes. I enjoyed all my jobs, everything from volunteer to paid jobs and so forth. And quite frankly, when I got to the point where it wasn't fulfilling, I fired them and moved on.
Right. I like
Okay.
that. I like
And I know at my age, I know of people who have retired recently who have not enjoyed their work life.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for them because we only get one time at
We
this.
do. We only get one shot.
And my wife said, I'm going to ask you a second question. And I say this story for other people out there. You used to have a hobby. You used to love photography.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I haven't transferred into the digital stage. When I did, it was film. Okay? That's how far back it goes.
All right.
Okay? And I said, I can answer that question with the same answer that I did with number one about working. I so loved what I did that I never saw it as a job.
Yeah.
I saw it as an opportunity to make a difference.
Yeah.
I have the
That's-
feeling that's you too, isn't
well,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't ever, even on the hard days,
Yeah.
I don't.
And there are gonna
I
be
don't
hard
regret
days.
Tomorrow, there's
Yes.
going to be hard days, and
Yeah.
you're dealing with people in crisis, and they don't always show up the best. Heck, I don't always show up the best when crisis happens in my family.
Yeah.
So. I get it,
Yeah.
and they don't know where they're going to sleep tomorrow or what they're going to eat or how that's going to work out. I mean, I see all that about them, and so I know where I'm sleeping by the grace of God, and I know, food on my table and stuff. So I don't have those stresses. So I understand them when they don't show up quite so well, but that's okay. But I love what I do.
Yeah.
It's like I tell people when they go through a program and they graduate, I tell ladies, I say, they're like, I want to come work here. And I'm like, okay. And even if you don't, volunteering in this, there's always somewhere where we can encourage people. But that's what we're called to do. So the program was free, didn't cost me a dime other than my own energy, tears and stuff, which I needed to invest. You need to be invested for change to happen.
Right.
But so this is what I get to do. I get to turn back and help the next person struggling. I mean, that's what we're called to do. That's what God has asked me to do. That's what I feel is my responsibility. And
love it.
I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I know what God's called me to do. Like, I know I'm supposed to be an encourager.
And when someone says, well, how do you know? What do you know about this?
Yeah.
You can be very honest.
Mm-hmm. And I love what I do. So
Yeah.
I know that I'm blessed because I've heard of plenty of people that just did it for the money or whatever, their
Right.
jobs, and they got through. And so I know that I'm thankful that I already have that blessing. And also volunteering, I've learned that a lot of volunteers, they were retired. It's just like another second career. They work just as hard as me, if not harder. And I'm like, didn't you retire? Yeah, but they love what they do, or they didn't get to do this kind of thing before. And so
Exactly,
now
exactly.
they get to do it. And, I can tell they probably wish they'd done it a lot longer beforehand.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, other than volunteers that you're constantly looking for in all of the UGM programs, and you have opportunities for all across the board, and there's a introduction evening and some things like that, and the training that comes with it. We're a week and a half or so away from Christmas.
Yeah.
And the Union Gospel Mission, I imagine, especially the Women and Children's Shelter, could use some help and some gifts. What are some of
could.
those things that you could use there?
They could. So they'll have it put up about our top needs of
Right.
the sizes and stuff, but just it's changed this year, right? So
Right.
COVID, I remember you asking earlier, how did COVID change those things?
Right, right.
And it changed because we can't get out there like churches. So we have our little
Okay, that's right, because
ornaments
you
that
used
go
to
on
have
the
churches that
trees.
would donate things.
Yeah, and so my church, I was going to do it at my church, but we're just doing it on, online.
Yeah.
We're watching church. So I've just kind of put it on the message board about some of our needs and stuff because I can't hand out the ornaments.
Yeah.
So seeing that is going to be a good, I think, way to get the information out for people because we're not able to do those ornament things like we wanted to or
Right.
have in the past. But this town is faithful. This town is so generous, and so I know
Yeah.
that if they know where to find the information, they're going to definitely, come through for
And
these
that's
ladies.
easy to find at any time, whether they're watching now or forget what it is to go to your website.
Yes,
right?
it's very
And what is
informative.
that?
The Union Gospel Mission Northwest. Yeah,
.org.
.org, I
.org.
believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think if people put like all of us do in Google, Union Gospel Mission Spokane,
Yeah.
it's going to come up,
Spokane,
right?
so it will.
Right,
Yeah, or the Northwest.
Yeah, I think that's how I do it because I can't remember some organizations in town, but I'm going, okay, it's the YMCA or Union Gospel Mission or whatever it may be. And
And we're the only one in Spokane. I mean, there's ones in other, towns in
right,
Washington.
right.
So yeah, if
and you
put
and you
Spokane-
cover the Coeur d'Alene area as
We
well.
do. We have a
In fact-
life recovery
in fact,
program over
The
there.
website is up on the screen right now, so people will know when they get to the right. And
good.
I'd encourage people to go in and see. I don't know if they're doing tours right now, given the COVID and everything else, but go in and take a look at some of the video and the pictures.
There's
and-
plenty of testimony on there about people's,
Absolutely.
my testimony, others about how our lives have been changed through the interaction of volunteers, through the ministry, through being in a safe place.
Yes.
We're different. We require sobriety.
Right.
And we have some structure that I think is a little bit different, but it's good for them.
But it works.
It does work. It
That's
does work.
the point.
I
It's
hear-
not just a warm bed at night and a meal. And there are places that do that, and I get that. And there is a
Yes.
need for that.
And I'm thankful for those places. Yes.
But we're talking about the need to help change people's lives because that's not going to change a life. It's just going to feed them for the moment.
It is, but when
Okay.
they're ready for change, like wanting sobriety and
yes.
stuff, that's when they come seeking us out. And like
Right.
Karen said, yeah, they might come through a couple times, but eventually that seed gets planted, and I've seen change happen.
Yeah.
And I
Well, your change that's
I
happened.
am very
okay.
much
They see it
changed.
right now
Yeah.
on the screen.
Yeah.
They see you.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've had others in here that have been changed because of the Union Gospel Mission. As I said, I am just so impressed with the volunteers that help, the staff that helps, the number of from the women's shelter to the men's recovery area and all of that. and you guys have a terrific program. I'm
I'm
most
blessed
impressed
to be part of this
by
program, yeah.
your head staff guy, some guy named Phil.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
He is.
When he comes on, I talk way too long with him because I love hearing his point of view and
Yeah.
what he's doing, the change agent that he's helping all of you make in Spokane
Yeah.
is so important.
We're
it
all
really
kindred
is.
spirits for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel it. We all have that desire to
I love it.
change. And so,
Yeah.
in this community
Yeah.
blows my mind about when you put out a need, this community answers a call.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's very humbling.
So if
and
people
very
want to give
heartwarming.
gifts and so forth, they can go online, find out where to deliver it, and
Yeah.
all of those kinds of things
Yeah.
too, or call the main phone number.
Call the
Right.
main phone number or
Right.
call, and they'll direct you to, like, if you have a heart for the crisis shelter, or maybe
Right.
the life recovery program for the men or women, they'll direct you on who to contact to bring
Okay.
that Christmas stuff. And,
Yeah.
and we do have some volunteers, though, that are lined up getting ready to wrap and put
Oh,
things
fun.
together. And so they've been doing caroling. This was a crazy thing. One of our evening house managers decided that we needed Christmas cheer.
Yes.
And she organized a caroling team
All
that
right.
went through the neighborhood and went to door to caroling. We heard good response from the neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
They were like, wow, that was really awesome. And you didn't want anything. You just wanted to spread Christmas cheer.
Yeah.
And then the ladies that got to be part of that, they'd never done that before, a lot of them,
Yeah.
in any circumstance. So they were like, it's a new experience for them
Yeah.
to experience joy.
Yes.
And it rewrites a lot of things.
Yeah.
It does.
Kimmi, thank you very much. Congratulations on your giving back to this community and passing a couple of milestones in your life. You set a good example.
Thank you.
Okay? And thanks for watching The Pulse of Spokane, everybody. It's the Union Gospel Mission. Look it up on online and give. Give generously this holiday season. Thank you. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.